This is the story of Courtney Hadwin, the teenage powerhouse who captivated millions on America's Got Talent, only to discover that viral fame comes with a price that no one prepared her for.
What happened after the cameras stopped rolling reveals a different kind of heartbreak than what most people expect.
When Courtney Hadwin stepped onto the America's Got Talent stage in 2018, she was just a shy 14-year-old girl from Heselden, England. What happened next would change her life forever, but not necessarily in the way she or her family had dreamed.
Her audition performing Otis Redding's Hard to Handle didn't just impress the judges, it became a global phenomenon that eventually racked up over 200 million views on YouTube.
But here's what most people don't understand about viral fame, especially when it happens to a child. The moment that video hit 50 million views in just 5 months, Courtney's childhood effectively ended. This isn't a single dramatic event, it's the slow, systematic loss of a normal teenage life, replaced by an adult world of contracts, expectations, and pressure that would challenge someone twice her age.
Let's go back to the beginning.
Courtney had already tested the waters of reality television when she appeared on The Voice Kids UK in 2017. She was just 13 then, still finding her voice both literally and figuratively. The experience gave her a taste of what performing on national television felt like, but nothing could have prepared her for what America's Got Talent would bring. When she walked onto that AGT stage, Courtney appeared to embody stage fright itself. She seemed nervous, almost fragile, as she stood before Simon Cowell, Howie Mandel, Mel B, and Heidi Klum. The judges looked at this slight teenager with concern, wondering if she would even make it through her performance.
Simon later admitted he thought she might not survive the first few notes. Then the music started, and everything changed.
The transformation was so dramatic, so complete, that it felt like watching someone become possessed by the spirit of rock and roll itself. This wasn't just a good performance by a talented kid, this was a 14-year-old channeling the raw energy and soul of one of music's greatest legends.
The audience erupted.
The judges sat in stunned silence before jumping to their feet.
Somewhere in that moment, Courtney's life split into two distinct chapters, before AGT and after.
The immediate aftermath seemed like a fairy tale. Her audition video exploded across social media platforms.
Entertainment news shows picked up the story. Music industry executives started making phone calls.
For a teenage girl who had grown up in a small English town, it must have felt overwhelming and magical at the same time. But viral fame, especially for children, is a double-edged sword that cuts deeper than most people realize. Suddenly, Courtney wasn't just a talented teenager pursuing her dreams. She was a brand, a commodity, a viral sensation with millions of eyes watching her every move. The pressure to live up to that initial moment of magic became enormous. As she progressed through the AGT competition, advancing to the quarterfinals, semifinals, and eventually the finals, each performance carried the weight of those 200 million views. When she took the stage on August 14th to perform Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, she wasn't just competing against other acts, she was competing against her own viral moment, trying to recapture lightning in a bottle.
The quarterfinal performance showed the first cracks in the fairy tale.
While still impressive, there was something different in Courtney's demeanor. The natural, almost accidental magic of her audition had been replaced by something more calculated, more aware. She was beginning to understand the magnitude of what had happened to her, and that understanding brought with it a burden that number 14-year-old should have to carry. By the time she reached the semifinals on September 11th with her rendition of Born to Be Wild, the transformation was even more apparent. Here was a girl who had become acutely aware that millions of people were watching, judging, comparing her to that first explosive moment. The spontaneous joy that made her audition so special was being replaced by the heavy responsibility of living up to expectations. The finals on September 18th, where she performed River Deep, Mountain High, represented both the culmination of her AGT journey and the beginning of a new kind of pressure. She placed 6th overall, a remarkable achievement for anyone, but particularly for someone so young.
Yet for a viral sensation who had broken YouTube records, 6th place felt like a letdown to many observers.
The comments sections, always brutal, became even more unforgiving. This is where the real heartbreak begins to reveal itself. Courtney's story isn't one of failure or dramatic downfall, it's the story of a childhood sacrificed on the altar of viral fame. While her peers were worrying about homework and teenage crushes, Courtney was navigating record deals, performance schedules, and the constant scrutiny of millions of strangers online. The signing with Psycho Music and Arista Records in December 2018 was presented as a triumph, and in many ways it was. These were major labels, the kind of opportunity that countless aspiring musicians would kill for. But for Courtney, it meant that her transformation from ordinary teenager to professional entertainer was now complete and irreversible. When she returned to compete on America's Got Talent, the champions in January 2019, the weight of everything that had happened over the previous year was visible. The shy girl who had accidentally become a viral sensation was now a professional performer with contractual obligations and industry expectations. The magic hadn't disappeared entirely, but it had been commodified, packaged, and marketed in a way that changed its fundamental nature. What makes Courtney's story particularly heartbreaking is how it mirrors the experiences of so many child performers who achieve sudden, massive fame.
The entertainment industry, for all its glamour and opportunity, isn't designed with the psychological well-being of children in mind.
It's an adult world with adult pressures, adult expectations, and adult consequences for failure.
Consider what Courtney's daily life became after that viral moment.
Every performance was compared to her audition. Every appearance was scrutinized for signs that she was living up to her potential or failing to meet expectations. The spontaneous, joyful performer who had captivated the world was slowly being replaced by someone who had to be on all the time, ready to deliver that same magic on command.
The heartbreak isn't that Courtney failed, she didn't.
She achieved remarkable success for someone her age. The heartbreak is that in achieving this success, she lost something that can never be recovered. The ability to develop as an artist and as a person without the weight of global expectations crushing down on her. Think about the psychology of what happened. One day, Courtney was a relatively unknown teenager with big dreams.
The next day, she was an international sensation with millions of views and industry professionals calling.
For an adult, this would be overwhelming. For a 14-year-old, it's potentially devastating to normal psychological development. The pressure to maintain that level of success, to keep delivering moments that live up to a viral sensation, is enormous.
Every subsequent performance carries the unspoken question, will this be as good as her audition?
And for a teenage performer still developing her skills and finding her voice, that question becomes a constant source of anxiety and pressure. What's particularly heartbreaking is that Courtney's natural talent and charisma were never in question. Her ability to channel the spirit of classic rock and soul music was genuine and remarkable. But the industry's need to capitalize on viral moments doesn't allow for the natural development and growth that young artists need. Instead of being nurtured and allowed to evolve at her own pace, Courtney was thrust into a world that demanded immediate, repeated success. The collaboration with the Struts during the AGT results show was emblematic of how her career was being shaped. Here was a talented young performer being paired with established acts, not because it was necessarily the best fit for her artistic development, but because it made sense from a marketing and promotional standpoint. Every decision about her career was filtered through the lens of maintaining and building upon her viral success. The real heartbreak of Courtney Hadwin's story is that it represents a broader problem with how we consume and process viral fame, particularly when it involves children. We celebrate these moments of breakthrough success without considering the long-term impact on the young people involved. We demand that they continue to deliver the same magic that made them famous, without recognizing that demanding magic on command is a recipe for destroying the very spontaneity that made it special in the first place. Courtney's journey from The Voice Kids UK to America's Got Talent to the Champion shows a talented young performer being systematically processed through the entertainment industry machine. Each step, while potentially lucrative and career advancing, took her further away from the natural, unguarded performer who had captivated audiences with her audition. The YouTube comments on her various performances tell the story of how public perception shifted. Early comments on her audition were filled with amazement and joy at discovering this incredible young talent. As her journey progressed, the comments became more critical, more demanding, more focused on whether she was living up to her initial moment of fame. The public, having elevated her to viral status, now felt entitled to judge whether she deserved to maintain that status. This shift in public perception represents another layer of heartbreak in Courtney's story. The same audience that had celebrated her discovery now held her to an impossible standard. She was no longer allowed to be a developing artist learning and growing. She had to be a consistent deliverer of viral moments. The grace period that most artists enjoy, where they can experiment and sometimes fail as part of their growth, was denied to her because of the magnitude of her initial success. The recording contracts and professional management that followed her AGT success were double-edged.
On one hand, they provided resources, opportunities, and professional guidance that could help develop her career.
On the other hand, they represented the final step in transforming her from a spontaneous young performer into a managed, marketed professional with obligations and expectations that extended far beyond her initial love of music. What's lost in all the discussion of Courtney's career achievements and viral success is the simple fact that she was still a child processing an experience that would be overwhelming for anyone. The emotional and psychological impact of sudden, massive fame is well documented among adult performers. For a 14-year-old, these challenges are magnified exponentially. The heartbreak of Courtney Hadwin isn't a single dramatic event, it's the slow erosion of childhood wonder and spontaneity under the weight of global expectations and industry pressure. It's the transformation of a joyful, natural performer into someone who has to constantly prove that their initial moment of magic wasn't a fluke. Her story serves as a cautionary tale about how we consume viral content involving children and young performers. Every view, every share, every comment contributes to the pressure these young people face. We celebrate their success while often ignoring the human cost of that success, particularly when it comes to their emotional and psychological psychological well-being.
The entertainment industry's handling of young viral sensations like Courtney reveals a fundamental tension between nurturing young talent and capitalizing on viral moments.
The immediate impulse is always to strike while the iron is hot, to maximize the commercial potential of viral success. But this approach often conflicts with what might be best for the young performer's long-term development and well-being. Courtney's appearances on multiple AGT franchises show how the industry seeks to extend and monetize viral success. Each appearance brought new exposure and opportunities, but also reinforced her identity as the girl from the viral audition rather than allowing her to develop a more complex artistic identity. The heartbreaking aspect of this trajectory is that Courtney's obvious talent and potential became secondary to maintaining her status as a viral sensation. Instead of being valued for her growth as an artist, she was valued for her ability to recreate the magic of her initial moment of fame. This puts an impossible burden on any performer, but especially on a teenager still figuring out who she is as both an artist and a person. The collaboration opportunities that arose from her success, while potentially valuable, also reflected the industry's tendency to fit young viral stars into predetermined molds rather than allowing them to explore their own artistic direction. Every opportunity was filtered through the lens of her viral success, limiting her ability to experiment and grow in unexpected directions. As we look at Courtney's journey from viral sensation to recording artist to reality show competitor, we see the systematic processing of a young talent through an industry machinery designed for adult performers. The heartbreak isn't that she failed to maintain her success, it's that the very nature of viral fame made it impossible for her to develop naturally as both an artist and a young person. The pressure to constantly live up to a single moment of viral success is something that no teenager should have to endure. Yet this is exactly what our digital culture demands of young performers who achieve sudden fame. We celebrate their initial success while creating an environment that makes sustained happiness and artistic growth increasingly difficult. Courtney Hadwin's story reminds us that behind every viral sensation is a real person dealing with real pressures and real consequences. The heartbreak isn't always dramatic or obvious. Sometimes it's the quiet loss of childhood, the pressure to perform on command, and the burden of carrying other people's expectations while still figuring out your own identity. Her journey through the various AGT shows and into the recording industry represents both remarkable achievement and significant loss. She gained fame, opportunities, and professional recognition, but at the cost of a normal teenage experience and the freedom to develop artistically without the weight of global expectations. The real heartbreak of Courtney Hadwin's story is that it didn't have to be this way. With different handling, more protection, and a focus on long-term development rather than immediate commercial success, her viral moment could have been the beginning of a more sustainable and fulfilling artistic journey. Instead, it became both her greatest blessing and her heaviest burden, a reminder that in our digital age, sometimes the thing that makes you famous is also the thing that traps you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think there's more to this story? And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives.